Welcome back, guys. I am 35 years old, single for the first time basically ever. Single dad now, and I find that I'm navigating the reset of my entire life, and I'm doing that having basically no instruction manual, as we all do. And I'm in this middle space between what was my old life and what will be the new one. And there was this high energy, drama, theatrics, and of this breakup and this separation and the end of the old life. And now the the energy's died down and the arguing is over and the fighting is done. And I don't have any expectations, and that is that's new. It's a new energy for me. And so I don't need anything from that old life anymore, where before I was kind of latched on to different ideas or you know expectations of people, or the ex-girlfriend, of course, or expectations of how she's going to be a mother and how she's going to take care of the kids or treat the kids, or how we will co-parent, and I've kind of let go of all those expectations and realized that it's just me now. um, and I don't need really anyone except me, and just to organize my own ideas around how I'm gonna move forward. And so I'm just kind of sitting in this middle space, and I'm finding it new. It's quiet, and I don't like necessarily the quiet. Um, And so I hope that I'm moving towards, or I feel like I'm moving towards this new life, that's high energy, um, and passionate about new ideas. And so as I'm sitting here organizing, I have plans and ideas. And for a long time, I was I was trending downward. And this happens to, I think, all of us, is we get stuck, complacent. Um, we don't exactly know how to navigate life, or a career or a family or a relationship, and we just kind of let it happen. And I did that, I guess, for 16 years or something. And I realized I was spiraling and things were bad. And I've found myself kind of trapped in this lifeless existence, and I forgot how to be passionate about life, or about goals, or the future, or I forgot really how to plan a future altogether. And now I'm trying to figure that out, and it's hard once you've forgotten how to be excited or creative for your future and for your life. It's kind of hard to bring that back. It's hard to relearn how to do that. And so that's where I'm at now. I'm in this little space in the middle, and that's good. Um, I find that I talk to myself about it, and I because I was in that relationship, I basically I designated that person as my entire life, which is not good, obviously. And so, I didn't invest in friendships or relationships outside of that. So I'm also relearning how to just be a person, and especially an individual one. I never really have never, really never been an individual person. I was always a part of another, person, family, life, household. I identified with a group, never necessarily individually. Um, and so I'm excited about the future in that regard, and learning how to do that. And so I just feel it feels like a storm came through my old life and kind of ripped everything apart. And now the storm is gone. The expectations of that situation are gone. And there's just stuff scattered all over, debris, and there's damage to the house, and there's damage, if you think about it like that. And so now I'm just kind of wandering around the yard looking at things and picking things up as I go, and trying to decide where things need to be put back in place, and what needs to be thrown away, and um, you know what needs to be purchased to rebuild. And so that's kind of it's kind of fun in a lot of ways. It's kind of sad and lonely, and it can be dark, and especially with the kids, navigating the teenage daughters as basically a single dad now. That's that's a new challenge. And parenting, of course, all along forever will always be a new challenge at all ages. We figure it out at every stage. And just like we have to get here. um and so, I always had this hierarchy that I built, and it was always, the kids first, and building their lives in a way where they're happy and healthy, and, in school, and have good friendships, and have a good life. I didn't have the best life, but I had a pretty good life growing up as I look back. And I don't want them to have, a rough story or anything. So I always prioritized their lives. And then the household was, in second place in maintaining the life and the American dream, and the cars, and the home, and um the relationship there. And uh so that's basically what I did. And money was always on the mind, and where are we going to go on vacation, and what are we doing for spring break, and oh, we need new cars, or um oh, we need to remodel the kitchen, that stuff. And so that was my life. And I never necessarily considered myself in there. I mean, that was a distant third on the hierarchy, I would say. And now, now I've kind of moved myself up. And because if I'm not okay, then I can't do anything for anyone else. I have to be squared away with myself. And so you almost have to move, at least in part, you have to move yourself to first place. And you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. And it's funny because I remember kind of talking about the concentric circles of responsibility, or of a fact, or whatever. And it's like you do have to put yourself in the middle before you can expand out and start to take care of other people, and including your own children, including your house, and your girlfriend or whatever. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of coming to terms with, my own self and humanity. So, um, yeah, I'm excited for the future. And I think that's really the secret. The secret is to, I could sit here and I could look back, and I could say, woe is me. Look what happened to me. How awful, how tragic. But I think the secret is to look at it and say, wow, I was able to survive that, and how incredible that I was able to get through that, and look at all the things that I was able to achieve, and use it as a use it as proof of strength, and proof of endurance, and proof of creativity, or um, whatever adjective I guess you want to put in there. But I think that's really the secret, and then look forward and say, what can I accomplish? I never would have thought I could have endured what I endured. So learning that about myself now, what limits do I have, if any, right? And so I'm excited to apply that to life. And I have, like I say, I have the ideas now. I'm learning how to have passions again, and plans and excitements. And so just kind of putting all that together, and and making it work, I'm excited about. So hopefully, hopefully we can do this together, or if any of that resonates, hopefully, you know, we can all come up together, so to speak. So thanks for listening, guys. Have a good one. Bye.